Oh, well, everybody know who I want next. I want Terrence Crawford next.
You're going to make that happen?
Huh?
You're going to make that happen?
Oh, definitely. That's the fight that I want. That's the fight everybody else want. Like I said, I'm going to get these straps that I'm going to go over there and take his shit too.
All right. Errol, congratulations. Terrific fight this evening.
Thank you, man. Now, strap season, I know what time it is, baby. Terrence, I'm coming for that motherfucking belt.
All right.
I'm not catching fades anymore. Gotta keep my hands clean when they come for the board. Keep it smooth like a dawn, making moves in the dark. Cause I learned how to swim in the pool full of sharks. Now they coaches, cause they can't read all his motions. How the kid never switch codes, but he code switch focus. Staring down your team with a frozen, ice cold look that could end the summer solstice. Cause I'm more like the top dog. Keep on running game and the gang will accost y'all. I be calling plays from a plane while I'm off court. But we ain't the same, you a lame, I'm a mob star. Actually, I'm a top dog on a stat sheet. Off court, but I call plays for the athlete. Laughing when the cop cars try to catch me. Cause I rolled off in a taxi. Put my feet up, I'm relaxing. Singing Figaro with no accent. While I pour strings from the streets in. Do it all with a straight face, I'm the kingpin. Top dog, top flow, boss mode, I'm the kingpin. Showstopper, top dog, God vibe, I'm the kingpin. They know I'm a dog and a beast, man. Yeah, I keep the peace with a peace, man. I ain't got no time for a piece, man. Why would I respond to a pawn? I'm the... Hold up.
If I let my dogs off the leash, then you might want to get out of Dodge while they eat them. Honestly, think it's not the blood and the beef. If they don't leave anything behind at the eat.
I can see you soft, ever thought about retreating. If you never have, then they'll give you a reason. Better watch your tone, lose your bass when you speaking. Underneath the mask is the wrath of a... When you learn how to smile in their face, then go cutthroat. Then they wanna call you a con when the blood cold. I remember starving while y'all had a truckload. Now I'm with the mob with the call and the gusto. I'm a top dog on a stat sheet. Off court, but I call plays for the athlete. Laughing when the cop cars try to catch me. Cause I rolled off in a taxi. Put my feet up, I'm relaxing. Singing Figaro with no accent. While I pour strings from the streets in. Do it all with a straight face, I'm the kingpin. Top dog, top flow, boss mode, I'm the kingpin. Showstopper, top dog, God vibe, I'm the kingpin.
Going on, everybody? What's happening? What's going on, John Doe? What's happening? Yes, he did. He looked like the old Boots, of course. Usima Lima ain't that, he ain't that dude, right? Let's just keep it 100. It was a warm up, but what this displays is the pressure, fighting on the big stage in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? And you got the expectation. Everybody expects you to go out there and knock this guy out, and he did that. So it shows that Boots have some. He's getting used to being that dude that everybody's expecting to perform in the ring, right? He's becoming that. When a fighter say, "I'm that dude," I'm the one who's going to be pound for pound number one. I'm taking over where Terrence Crawford, left off. That's a big, and he still might be able to fight Terrence Crawford. He only need $100 million to do it, right? He only need $100 million, I'm not blaming Crawford in that because Crawford done put in his time. So he beat the man that's supposed to be the face of boxing. So I don't give a damn if he asked for 200 million. The man tired. The man trying to pad his money for retirement. So I don't really think he has to fight Jaron Boots Ennis, but that would be a passing of the torch, sort of, if he could beat Crawford. That would be a passing of the torch. You know what I'm saying? But these fighters today, they don't want to pass no damn torch. They just want to make their money and get the hell on somewhere. You see EJ out there drinking out there in Margaritaville, Once they make that grip, it's like it's time to go on the trip. And that's what they doing. You know what I'm saying? They just securing the bag and getting the hell on. But I want to see the legacy come back. Legacy fighters come back. And I'm hoping that Jaron Boots Ennis is a legacy fighter. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping, he's not just, you know, out here, just going for the bag. And hopefully, he wants all the big fights at 154 because that's really what's going to, make him a household name. Fighting the Sebastian Fedoras, fighting the Vergil Ortiz, fighting the best this new guy, best what's his Barrero, right, for the WBA. Believe it or not, I think that's going to be a more interesting fight for him, than he thinks. And he's in the WBA line right now to fight that guy next, right? But we want to see him fight Vergil Ortiz. It's in his contract. That's what YSM was saying. He says it's a stipulation with Matchroom that he has to fight Vergil Ortiz. So it's like that's his destiny. He can't get around fighting Vergil Ortiz. Now, if some bullshit come up and he start hemming and hawing, that he can't fight Vergil Ortiz, then all of a sudden we know something ain't right. Something because that division right now is the hottest division that's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so much talent in there that they can fight. I think what's his name? Zaya, what's his name? Xander Zaya or something. He is kind of like the weakest link. He's the weakest link. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's going to be a champion long because he's a good boxer, but he's not. He don't show anything that's going to keep him a champion, right? I see Sebastian knocking him off. I see Jaron knocking him off. I see a lot of fighters that can knock off Xander Zayas. He's a good fighter, but he just don't have it. He just don't seem like he's completely, what I'm saying? I don't see nothing special about him. You know what I'm saying? He's just a good, very good fighter. And it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for him to protect his belt because right now he's kind of like Hitchens Richardson, even though he's sweet, what I'm saying, with the hands, what I'm saying, he's the weakest link, what I'm saying, besides probably Matias, who just kind of comes forward. So, it's some of these fighters, they're gonna have to tighten up, man. They're gonna have to step it up to the next level to protect these belts because I could see new champions being produced at 154 and 140, right? They just got to get in the ring with each other. And the longer they hold off on that, it's the more frustrating it's going to be for boxing fans. Because we should have been had that Shakur Tio fight. I don't know what they waiting on. We should have been had that fight. There's a lot of fights at 140 that should have been happening. 154 they getting it on with Jaron with the introduction of Jaron Boots Ennis, and this is his introduction statement with Usima Lima, right? I mean, he looked like, man. He was just. I don't, did he throw a punch, y'all? Did he throw a punch? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Did he throw a goddamn punch? He was so overwhelmed, man. He got machine gun down, and your boy came in there looking like water, man. He was just ice skating all over the damn ring. I'm just like he just looked like they was in two different speeds. You know what I'm saying? When Boots snapped that jab, bro, I was like, this boy looking like when I first saw him, man, the speed was there. I don't know if he slacked off or something, or he was just trying a different style, but it looked like he's back to his old ways. What's going on? What's going on? Retro Gamer Fights back. He said Boots did his thing. Time for name fights. He says Tony, Lubin, Vergil, Fedora, Tim Zook, Ben, um, Ben, and Eubank. And what's going on, Mike, in the building? What's going on, my brother? How you doing? Salute, Master Kali, up in the building. Yes, sir. Ascended, Awakening Astro. What's happening, bro? Yes, sir. Man, I was, you know, just checking out, we didn't have much to go on because Boots, he got in his ass pretty quick. Um, but I like the aggressiveness. I like the speed. I like what I saw. And if he comes in there in that Vergil Ortiz fight looking like this, it's gonna be a good one. Because I don't think that. Let me tell you something right now, and I'm gonna call it. I don't think Vergil Ortiz can handle that foot speed and that pot shot, and what I'm saying, the way Boots do it. I'm saying, the only way Virgil's gonna have a chance with this kid is cutting off the ring and really banging. What I'm saying, banging on the inside. What I'm saying, if he can get Boots to sit down. What I'm saying. I think Boots like to fight too. And I think Boots like to sit down, but I think Boots is a better counterpuncher than Vergil Ortiz. Vergil Ortiz nice. Don't get me wrong. He's nice. He's tough. He's got power. But you're talking about a guy who's probably could be fighting up at 160 or 168. So he's not going to be bigger than Boots, right? So Boots could sit down, in the pocket and fight, saying, from time to time, kind of like Crawford did with Canelo. He could sit down, and he can kind of like calibrate Vergil Ortiz power and see if he could stand in there and bang with him a little bit, because I think Boots got the faster hands, and I think Boots will come out on top in exchanges, right? But it's gonna be, I mean, that's gonna be great to see. um, I don't think that Boots is going to shy away from this fight. Say, especially with it being in his contract with Matchroom to fight Vergil Ortiz. And I don't know what's going on with Matchroom right now. They're talking about selling the Matchroom to the Turk, and I'm pretty sure the Turk would definitely make that fight happen if Matchroom falls into his hands, right? I'm pretty sure that's the first fight the Turk would try to, like really get going, because he likes the big fights and he likes the way they fight. I think Jaron Boots Ennis has the kind of style that the Turk like. What I'm saying? He don't box all the time. Sometimes he gets in there and bang. What I'm saying? He's a very, very aggressive fighter. And I like what Bozy told Jaron Boots Ennis. He said, "Don't play with him. Don't play with him, because you give this man the opportunity to get warmed up." And what I'm saying, he throws a lucky punch, and now all of a sudden you all over, everybody's website and channels. What I'm saying, that this dude bust you in the face. What I'm saying, or dropped you on the canvas. So Bozy told him to go out there and take care of business, and that's what Boots did. He listened to Bozy, and that's a great. We've been having to witness a lot of these damn father son boxing teams, man. This is a great era of boxing that's coming up. Not the one that passed, but the one that's coming up. I think we're gonna see. You got Schofield and his son, Floyd Schofield, Floyd Schofield Sr. You got Brian Norman Jr. and Brian Norman Sr. What I'm saying? You got the Haneys. What I'm saying? And you got the Benavidez. I mean, it's so many, bro. It's like it is so many. I'm just like, wow. That used to be a rare thing in boxing, man. But you got the father son team, and a lot of the father, some of the father's fault. What I'm saying? So this is really, really good, I think, for boxing. Even though the fathers get a little bit overbearing at times, what I'm saying, talking a little bit too much, you know, um, but I think it's good for the fighter, to keep the son with that fire and that pride, right? So, but Bozy, he's cool though. I like how he kind of fall back in the background, and he's training other fighters too. He's training Jack Catterall, and people, once they see success, people want to come to your camp. What I'm saying, because your son, he has a certain style and tenacity, and they want to pick up some of those tricks that Boots be doing in the ring. What I'm saying? So, there was a lot of rumors going on about the Canelo Alvarez camp and what happened to Boots, and saying, I heard, I think Senior was putting it out there that Boots got ran out of the ring with Canelo and all kind of stuff like this here. And I was like, man, it's like, how do these guys be knowing this shit, or do they just be putting out like hate and propaganda and stuff? I don't know how much of that shit be true, but I think Boots picked up a lot. What I'm saying, in that Canelo Alvarez camp. Everybody was talking about he's selling out, but no, it's all about knowledge. If you can learn something from another camp, and they could teach you something, that could help you in your career, that might save you out of a tight spot. What I'm saying? So I think Boots, what I'm saying, need to do more of that, what I'm saying, more information gathering to help him grow, because he's gonna need it. He's gonna need that to survive 154. And a lot of people saying like Boots, he looks like he's still kind of, you know, um, too big for 154. Like, his weight, he still looked like he's shrunken down, what I'm saying, to a smaller weight. And I was like, damn, what I'm saying, yeah, he may need to go up to 160. Vergil Ortiz too. So, they can't stay at these weights too long if they're naturally bigger, right? But it's good to see, as long as he's there, hopefully, he fights everybody that we want to see him fight. Um, and I just think that Boots did a wonderful job last night, man. I was just like, I was proud of the kid, what I'm saying? Because I just know there's a lot of people out there that wanted Boots to fail. They wanted him to, they wanted this guy to give him all kind of problems. They was talking all kind of shit at the end, where US Lima, he's a tough guy to beat. Boots ain't gonna be able to run through him, and that's just what Jaron Boots Ennis did. He ran right through his ass, and it's like, wow. Say, stop putting this negative connotation on Boots. He's not a bad kid. His daddy don't talk too much. Um, you know, the kid is, he's like any other fighter, saying, from Philly. They got a lot of pride, and they believe in themselves. I mean, look at Bernard Hopkins. He wouldn't stop talking. That's Snaggletooth nigga. I mean, he was just talking, talking, talking. What I'm saying? And he's talking in these goddamn riddles and shit. And, what I'm saying? And the shit was just wonderful, because he was, what do you call this stuff? The alien or some shit like that. But he backed it up in the ring. And, you know, even though he did a lot of crazy talk, he could, he was a good fighter. What I'm saying? Boots don't even do that. What I'm saying? So I just see what's in the future. I see a lot of writers, talking down on Boots, and really trying to frame him as somebody that he's really not. And if anything, he's kind of a boring. He's kind of like an Aerosmith Jr. He don't like to do a whole lot of bragging on himself. And I think that's kind of the model a lot of fighters are taking nowadays, where they're not braggadocious and stuff like that. But people want to see, that kind of fighter, what I'm saying, where they talking shit and, hey, I'm the best. I'm the best over here. What I'm saying? This is, I'm the new dude or whatever. And he don't even do that much. But I think with US Lima, he wanted to make a statement. And and it was good to see that he was able to make that statement, no matter how you look at this dude's resume and who he is. To be able to go out there and perform like that with people wanting you to fail, that shows me a lot. Said by Jaron Boots Ennis. And I'm not saying that this fight alone is gonna, give us a preview of what he's gonna do with Vergil Ortiz, but I got a sense of just by who Vergil Ortiz fought. Aegis Kavalauskas. I'm talking about all of them. Bokacek. Let me see, Madronov. What I'm saying? Boots is better than those guys. He's more athletic. He's faster. He's slicker. What I'm saying? And I could see Boots like really schooling Vergil Ortiz. Because Vergil fights in that straight line. Um, he reminds me of Aerosmith Jr. The way he attacks, what I'm saying, just aggressively and moving forward, being a pressure fighter. And I think Boots could eat that up by just stepping to the side. What I'm saying? He's closer to what Crawford is than anybody that I've seen. What I'm saying? Even though he will, what I'm saying, put that offense on your ass first. So and once again, I thought this was an excellent ass fight. What I'm saying? I thought this shit was crazy good, man. Even though it didn't last, before I could buy it, cause I was on live last night. And before I could buy it, man, the fight was over. Before I could hit the button to buy the zone and shit, the shit was already over. What I mean? I was just like, man, I was disappointed, man. I was just like, damn. So I had to watch it again, saying, on YouTube. But I heard everything that went down, but then I had to watch it on YouTube just to see, the action itself. And man, when I tell you the boy was just he was smooth. He was smooth now. Now can he take for Sebastian Fedora? I don't know. I don't know. I think Sebastian is that's going to be. I don't think Sebastian is fast as Boot, but he does have that reach. And but I could see Boots get unifying definitely. He's going to get somebody's title. He's not going to get a title with Vergil Ortiz because he don't have one yet. But I think one of these two, Xander Zayas, I think his shit gonna get taken. Um, who else? Who else? That guy at the WBA, I think he gonna get his shit taken. Let me see. He should be in a good spot right now. I think Boots is in a good position, what I'm saying, to go after everybody. And if he does that, I think he's gonna be one of the more popular uh champions, what I'm saying, when he grab him a belt up there. And I think he's gonna get a lot more fanship. So I think more and more people are gonna join the bandwagon, the Jaron Boots Ennis bandwagon, as he, what I'm saying, keep growing as a fighter. And especially if he give us some really entertaining knockdowns and knockouts and as he go along at 154. So Boots is the Black Thor of Philly, man. That I gave him that title. So hopefully he'll give me an interview and come on here and let me regale him with that title. you know but he seemed to kind of only deal with YSM, and that's his personal, that's his Howard Cosell, so to speak. But yeah, what you guys think, man? Y'all think that he's ready for Vergil Ortiz? Who you think would win between Vergil Ortiz and Jaron Boots Ennis? Do you think Boots got that, or do you think Vergil Ortiz has that? You know what I'm saying? Let me see y'all guys answer that. Let's see. He said you want to see Boots get undisputed in 154, and Jamil left the. So I want to see Boots get undisputed at 154. Jamil left the spot. That would be a good fight if I thought Jamil was still interested in boxing instead of making money. Um, I don't know how much Jamil got in his gas tank. Because right now he just seemed like I don't know, his headspace. I don't know where he at. Is he training? What coach is he using? It's like it's a lot of stuff going on in Dallas that it's just undefined right now. Is Jamel and Spence going to fight? Um, no, nobody knows, man. It's like they need to get on the ball and get their teams together so we know if they in the game or not. He said he needs to fight one time Spence and Carlos Ortiz, and yes, then Bud, but he needs to gather some real names. I think he can't help it now. Ascended. I think he got to. I mean, I think that was his warm up. That was his one little, hey, welcome to 154. And shit, he got to fight somebody. And I'm pretty sure Matchroom knows that the next fight got to be somebody big, because nobody's gonna believe in this hype train if he keeps fighting, the U.S. Limas of the world. That shit is not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? We already know what kind of fighter he is. Sup, brothers? He says, yeah, Boots turned into Captain America. Yeah, he did. And you saw the look on his face and shit. Like you saw that shit had me rolling. Like this nigga looking like Marvin Gaye and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, with that big ass beard. He says Boot is a bad motherfucker. He said my favorite fighter in boxing. Yes, sir, he is. He is. He says, Pool, I just don't see Ortiz and Boots boxing each other, just a bang and slugfest. No, no, I think it'll be a mixture of both. Because Ortiz gonna be trying to, man, Ortiz is gonna go in there. He gonna try to put the put the Falumaloom on Boots. You know, that's what I love about Vergil Ortiz. You know, he's always trying to hurt you. You know, and Boots is going to have to hurt Vergil Ortiz to slow him down. That's the only way to like really fight him. You know, you got to hurt him. You know, and in the few fights that I have seen Vergil Ortiz hurt, that's the only way to, you know, and he's still kind of, you know, he start ramping up and he get these surges. You know what I'm saying? He fighting surges. You know, like, you know, he'll throw, you know, he'll flick his jab, he'll throw a few jabs out there, but then he gonna hit you, he wanna paralyze you with that body shot. But then he start once he paralyze you with that body shot, here he come with the 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? Here he come. You know what I'm saying? And he keep fighting these surges. And I think Boots is gonna have to get his respect early to let him know, like, no, no, you ain't coming in here handling me like that. And I think Boots got that kind of stop power, stop them surges, and be able to hit him with shit that he don't see. And I think that's gonna slow Vergil Ortiz down, getting hit with them punches that he don't see, them damn hooks from the outside, them uppercuts. You know what I'm saying? That Boots like to throw. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I don't think he's going to be able to pressure Boots like that. You know, I think Virgil going to have to box a little bit more. You know, or he's gonna run the risk of getting knocked the hell out or getting TKO'd. You know what I'm saying? When he messes with somebody with the hand speed of Jaron Boots Ennis. He says Boots style dramatic, dramatic is dramatic as. Yeah, you know, he's trying to be a showman. But he got to learn to keep that defense together while he's doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because you know he takes a lot of shots when he's just concentrating on his offense. He said Boots versus Bud is next, but I don't know what is on the agenda for Crawford. Now, from what I understand, he's asking for a lot of money. So I don't know if that would be a good passing of the torch fight. But they saying Crawford talking about $100 million. I don't think Matchroom gonna pay that. I don't think I don't know if the Turk will pay something like that, but you know, he's out here, he handing out, you know, cash, you know what I'm saying? So if he's willing to pay for it, you know, I think the boxing public want to see it too. But that's a lot of work for Crawford to come down to 154 after reaching 168. But for $100 million, god damn it, let me get my slim fast, my nigga. Let me get my slim fast. You know what I'm saying? Let me get some fruit. You know what I'm saying? Let me get some salad. You know what I'm saying? I do all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it says they wanted it to go 5+ rounds. Facts. And he says, "Fool, I feel like Boots got multiple styles, but he's not showing his hand." Yeah, I mean, whatever he's proficient at is what he better use. Um, because having a lot of styles could be a lot of trouble. I think Crawford got different styles too, but he always go with the shit that work for him. When you in there with somebody that could beat your ass, that's not time. That's not the time to start. You know, trying to try other styles and all that kind of thing. You got to stick with what you know, and hopefully he don't get caught playing around with Crawford, or because Crawford, once he figure you out, you know, it's on and popping. You ain't got a lot of time to think. And he's bringing that pressure. You know, so I mean, I don't know how real that is. Is that if he's going to fight Bud Crawford, I don't know how real that is. I got to see that announced to really believe it, because with Crawford, it's hard to negotiate a deal with him. You know, because he'll go in there and say he'll take the fight, and then the lawyers let the lawyers do the work. And then stuff comes up that they don't like, and that may postpone the fight. Crawford will go off and fight somebody else while that deal is being hammered out. So we've seen him do that with Spence and David Avanesian, and going to get him a warm up over there. But I don't think Crawford is really uh interested in fighting more than once a year. Um, so, I don't know. It just seemed like it's improbable, and who knows if Boots is ready for Bud Crawford. And I'm saying he's 38 years old. At some point in time, his age got to catch up with him. And you got a guy that's 28 years old and got all the energy in the world. That I'm pretty sure they're looking at that fight and they probably trying to chop it up right now to see what Boots' weaknesses are before they take it or something like that. He said I heard a lot of people taking the over and stuff. What fight? Oh, this fight that just passed or what? Doughboy says style makes fights. Boots got real good IQ. Yeah, I think so too. Coming from a boxing family, man, he can't help it. What I'm saying? The man is coming from a boxing family. you know, um, the Mayweathers, what I'm saying, the Masons, yeah, you got these kids coming up in boxing families, bro. So it's like it's in his blood, 100%. He is a fighter, right, through and through. So, the gym is like a second home to him. Or do they live in the gym? I don't even know. Every time I see him, he in the gym. So that's a good thing. He said, I think Boots got the best of Canelo as well, inspiring. Yeah, I don't know, but from what, yeah, if you let Brian Norman Sr. tell it, what I'm saying? You let him tell it. Boots got ran up out the damn ring and all this kind of stuff, and he couldn't hang with Canelo and all this kind of stuff. So he said, "I love, I love the shit Top Floyd did to Brian Kenny in that interview. Yeah, that was kind of cold blooded, wasn't it? You know what I'm saying? Brian Kenny, trying to keep his cool and everything, but he was coming for Floyd though. With the bashing of the beatings and all this shit that was they always come at Floyd on a personal level and try to rattle him and get him out of character and stuff. So, you know, Mike Rhythm says he says Bernard was acting like he was still locked up. Hey, Bernard had a good one too with he had a good little dialogue with Larry Merchant, Larry Merchant always was talking shit, passive aggressive ass, you know. Says Retro Gamer Fight Back said agreed. Says, can Jaron take a flush shot and weather the storm? That's a good question. Especially talk about somebody with the power of Vergil Ortiz. Say, oh, he get caught by one of the wood choppers. They got good power. You know what I'm saying? They got good power, man. I mean, and they know how to counter too. Them guys know how to counter very well. Um, that the jury's still out. You know what I'm saying? If you get hit flush by one of them 54 pounders, for Roy Jones Jr., it took him years before he could figure out if he could take a good shot. And then once he finally got hit on the button, you know, he was out of there. And for most fighters, if you get hit right, you can get knocked out by somebody with some good power, right? But we got guys that fall in the background that study you for years, and they only in the game, to fight to take one person out. Just like Lamont Roach, what I'm saying, was ready uh Javante Tank Davis. He came in there with a prime directive, what I'm saying, to take out Tank. So he's been studying this guy for years. That's the shit Crawford do. He fall back for years studying you, what I'm saying, just to take you out. What I'm saying? So these fighters got to stay on top of their stuff, and always stay game because it's always somebody studying your style. You got to be able to switch up things, inside the ring, and if you're not used to doing that, yeah, you're gonna meet your match. He said, uh, let me see, what's going on, Dark Kent in the building? He says, Boots say he wants Backroom. He said, I think that he should be next if possible. Backroom is a tough fight. Woo, man. If anything will prove that Jaron Boots Ennis is that dude, Backroom, Backroom. That dude can hit. That dude, he kind of reminds me like a 154 pounder Arthur Beterbiev. He don't have as much power as Arthur Beterbiev, but man, the way he hit Tim Zoo, man. But Tim Zoo is a stationary target though. But with Boots, what I'm saying, he's gonna give him them angles. He's gonna give him some movement, and I think the way Backroom throw his punches is not really hidden. You know what I'm saying? I think, he's just kind of like a basic a basic fighter. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have any movement, if you stand in front of him, he's going to destroy you. If Boots stood in front of Backroom, it'll be hard for him, bro. I don't think Boots could deal with Backroom's power, man. Cause that's a big dude. I mean, he looks like a damn 168 pounder. He don't look like no small 154 pounder. You know what I'm saying? He like what they call weight bully. I don't believe in weight bullies, but if there ever was one, I would say Backroom, man, he is a big guy. And he can box his ass off. So, that's a dangerous fight for Jaron Boots Ennis. He said it would be a war until it's not a war and Boots win. I think the movement would get him, you know. If Boots he don't do like a Eric Lubin thing where, he just, he choose violence and he just goes toe to toe with the guy. You know what I'm saying? That's stuff that Lubin does, Erickson Lubin do. Just throw the gauntlet down and just go toe to toe. You know what I'm saying? It's exciting to see, but shit, you saw what happened to his face, you know. He said, I got Boots versus Vergil. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You said, so you saying you got Boots in that fight? He says, Kent Backham is a step up fight. Let's see it. No doubt. No doubt. What's going on, Thomas? Thomas Hill? What's happening, my brother? He says, oh, you're just hollering at folks. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You think somebody say Virgil gets stopped in under 6? That's disrespectful. This boy is from Fort Worth. He's from Fort Worth, Texas. They don't get stopped in 6 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Boots is a tough. That dude, when he gets hurt, he's like a super saiyan. You know what I'm saying? It's like he just when he gets hurt, he fight harder. And that might work for him or it might work against him. Just depending on, how Boots react to this shit. Because that kid there, he's a real deal. He's a real deal when it comes to taking shots and being durable in the ring, man. I'd be like, look at that, man, when he got dropped by Aegis Kalauskas and when he got dropped by Bokachuk and he came back, oh my God. That Boots gonna have to look out for those surges when he hurt Vergil Ortiz. You know how like you used to watch those old fights and somebody get hurt and they end up knocking out the guy that just hurt them. You know what I'm saying? So fighters are most dangerous when they get hurt. And Vergil Ortiz is one of those fighters. Like if you hurt him, oh my God, you better look out because a surge coming. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna try to knock you out. He's gonna try to get that get back. And so he's one of those kind of fighters. He's very durable and he's very aware of, where he at in the fight. So, you know what I'm saying? So, Boots could use that, set him up. He could use that to his advantage, but he's going to have to be careful when he fights Vergil Ortiz because Vergil Ortiz is a monster, man. He really is. You know, I think the dude is a bad motherfucker. I really do. He said, Dub City Gritty, and said Vergil is there to be hit, too one dimensional. Yeah, he does have a basic style, but behind a basic style, you know, sometimes a simple style is okay. But Virgil stopped moving his head during the fight. He can slip, he can move his head. He got those skills. It's just that he reminds me of Oscar De La Hoya, who has a beautiful jab. It's hard to deal with Oscar when he's jabbing, but he just got to get it. He gets away from jabbing during the big fights. It's like, what happened to your jab, bro? It's like your jab was keeping niggas at bay, but he stopped using it. He wants to brawl and wants to rumble. And I think Vergil Ortiz falls into that category. You could get him to fight real easy. And if he overpowers you, if he feels like he's stronger than you, say he's gonna really try to, overtake you and shit during the fight. So Boots is gonna have to be able to like strategically hit him in good spots, to let him know that it ain't sweet like that. I think Virgil gonna really push Boots to the next level. He says, he said retro gaming fight back. He said, that's what I'm saying. No more training wheels. Put him in with the yeah, he got to. I mean, he ain't no amateur. He got what 30 fights up on his belt. So it's almost damn near retirement time, bro. It's like bring your ass on here and fight these fights. That's what we were saying about Javante Tank Davis also. We wanted Javante to rep up the competition, bro. You getting old. It's like you 30 years old, bro, 29, 30 years old. It's time to fight your rivals, bro. No more excuses. He said Jaron can't make any of the so-called top guys sign the contract. Gabe, we can't think like that. You know, the time is now for Jaron Boots Ennis, right? This could be his era. I mean, like you said, you can't. No fighter could do that. But when Vergil Ortiz says he's ready to fight, everybody's saying they're ready to fight. It shouldn't be no excuses. They should be signing these contracts regardless. You know what I'm saying? So I know Oscar De La Hoya ain't the most um, honest, promoter. So he'll put a narrative out there real quick, like a fighter don't want to fight and all this kind of stuff. But I think these guys have come to an agreement, though. I think it's already been agreed on behind the scenes. He says I think Bud could fight at 160. Yeah, I think that's where he hit it, trying to get that four-time undisputed title. He's looking for the accolades right now. He says Boot will have to go to 160 probably after a while. He says when you have a toolbox with a lot of tools and you know how to use all the tools, that's what makes you great. Yeah, yeah. But you got to keep those tools sharp too. Don't let those tools get blunt. You know, Stay on top of it. You know what I'm saying? Because you start forgetting where they are. He says that fight is never happening. Let's focus on the champions at 154. Yeah. Which fight? You talking about the Crawford fight? Ty, you talking about the Crawford fight? I mean, I don't care if he fight Crawford or not. I would love to see it, but I just don't think that Crawford is interested, you know, in that fight. He's looking for the big money, something that's gonna get him paid 100 mil. And I don't blame him. He don't put a lot into boxing. So, Ty say, I heard from people who know the people who were with Boots that Boots whooped Canelo ass in sparring. Oh wow. Oh wow. Yeah, you know what? And Canelo old man, say, come on, not just putting it off on that, but you know what I'm saying. Canelo never was a guy like that. You know what I'm saying? He could beat up most guys that wasn't on top of their game, but like really, he wasn't. I would say the best performance I saw him fight was against Triple G, and those was his best days. Now I could see if let's see Jaron Boots Ennis against that Canelo. What I'm saying? The one who had head movement and all that. We talk about a Canelo that's, then been on the European tour. He don't have the passion like he used to. He's been keeping himself, he's been in the witness protection program for so long. So he lost his edge, right? So he stayed away from boxers, right? He stayed away from guys that were slick, guys that could move in the ring and stuff and counter him. So the first time he meets a really super fighter, a generational fighter, he loses badly. You know what I'm saying? And that's not something that surprises. I've been saying this shit on my channel for that forever. Canelo, he got power, he could slip up and he had a puncher's chance, but against a really slick fighter that's used to fighting top competition, it'll be hard. It's hard for anybody that's not fighting top competition because their instincts have been dulled for fighting lower competition, and that's the risk that Jaron Boots Ennis run, fighting the Usimas Limas of the world, right? So you got to stay in the with top competition because it keeps you thinking, and it helps you adapt to what's going with current fighting, right? You got to keep your skills up so you can think on the fly, right? And these guys are losing that by staying out the ring for so long, not really fighting top competition. So when they come back, they need a tune up. And you know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of hard to assess where they are and get any kind of consistency. You know what I'm saying? Because they stay out for so damn long, you know. Shit, the fighters of yesteryear, they used to fight every week. You know what I'm saying? With fucked up hands and eyes and, back aches and You know what I'm saying? How was they able to sustain that back then? You know, you look at what's the name? What is it? Sugar Ray Robinson. I forgot how many fights. He had like 128 knockouts or some shit like that. 100 and half his fights wasn't even recorded. You know what I'm saying? So it's like these guys could do a lot more. You know, they could do a lot more than they doing. He said I could see Boots fighting Maginot before Ortiz and Bud Eddie strikes me as that type of promoter. He was fighting. Yeah, yeah, fighting before Ortiz. That'll be another good warm up. That'll be a good warm up. But I think the boxing world respect Maginot because they seen Maginot, give Bud a good run for his money. So I think Jaron Boots will be safe. He'll be safe fighting Maginot. But then again, Maginot has an unusual style, and we saw what Boots looked like against Karen, right? Karen kind of threw Boots off that movement, that tricky, herky jerky shit. That's the same shit Maginot got. So if he was to fight Maginot, that would be a good test to see if Boots learned anything. Because he can't go in there trying to knock out Maginov like he did with Karen, right? Because Maginov got a lot more power. He's really tough. He has a lot of willpower. He believes in his ability, right? And he gave the master Crawford all he could handle. You know what I'm saying? Up in there. So he looked like he could have won the fight. You know what I'm saying? It's like until the end, you know, the problems that he was giving Crawford, he'll give Boots problems too. But that would be an excellent fight. Now I do think he'll knock out Bohachuk from what I've seen. But here's the thing. Here's the kicker. Brandon Adams is from 160 pounds, right? So he's used to getting hit with big shots. So he could kind of walk through what Bohachuk, and then he got heavier hands and he's got more power because he's used to fighting up at 160. So I think all that comes into play when he came down to fight Bohachuk. And once again, Bohachuk couldn't handle that power and he couldn't handle, that inside fighting from Brandon Adams. But with Boots, what I'm saying, I just think he's not going to be able to get off what he wants to because Boots is so damn slick, and you can pretty much see what Boachuk is throwing at you. He's got that. He's got a weird style, but I think Boots got enough boxing ability to make it simple for him. Just eat him up with the jab and just hit him with a few big shots here and there and flurry. He'll get Boachuk ass up out of there. He says, Tank and Roach fight uh, familiarity. He says, and emotions hurt Tank in a fight. He says, Tank, Roach fight. Yeah. And emotions hurt Tank in that fight. Yeah. 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 I agree. I agree. I agree. But I don't think Tank was ready mentally for that fight for some reason. Because I've never seen him take a knee. I've never seen him react like that. Like, he had like he owned the fight. You remember when Floyd fired the referee and shit? You know what I'm saying? And his little exhibition. It was kind of some shit like that. Like, this is my show and it's my rules, it's my ball. You know what I'm saying? I'll take my ball and go home and this shit won't even count. It was like on some shit like that. And I think people was just kind of like, bro, don't be a prima donna. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's something I don't want for Boots. You know, has become a prima donna. And I love Tank, but because he's so big, he thinks he's the lighter weight Canelo. Um, I think they start getting a big head, you know, and it's like these fighters, they got to stay grounded. They got to have somebody in their corner to keep them grounded. I think Crawford has that with his team. He's got the little silly dude, Bernie, the boxer. Saying you gotta have people around you to keep you grounded. And I think Tank don't listen to enough of his people. He's kind of a weird dude that stays in his head. But I think that's also makes him a great fighter too. You got to be a little crazy in the head to be a fighter, right? Some of the weird things that we see. It's the same thing that makes them, great. This dysfunction and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? He says, I want backroom last because of the IBF 10 pounds rehydration clause. Yeah, I know the IBF need to get rid of that shit, man. It's like people don't even want to fight for the damn belt. You know what I'm saying? Because of that. He said Boots have tools in his bag. In his bag, Boots can be a technical fighter. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you can see it, man. He's very good at picking his punches, selecting his punches. He got punches that he already want to. I mean, he just yeah, he definitely. I believe he is technical. You know what I'm saying? He says Boots is going to destroy, but he got so much athleticism. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it gives him a lot of versatility, right, to do what he want to do. He said Boots is going to destroy Virgil. I'm telling you, I think so too, Ty. I think so too. The more I think about it, the more I think so. Hopefully Boots, if he can come in healthy and nothing goes wrong in his training, yeah, I think he'll handle Virgil. But believe me, I love Virgil Ortiz, man. I love the way that dude fight. I love his spirit. He's one of my favorite fighters. Don't get me wrong, Virgil ain't no pushover, bro. He is not a pushover. He said Boot hurt Virgil and it's over with. Well, I think Boots is going to be one of the great finishers, right? You know what I'm saying? Once he gets you hurt, he's one of those dudes that if he gets you hurt, he's gonna get you out of there. And he's gonna be known for that. He's gonna be one of the great finishers in the game in the new boxing era. He says, greeting from Southside. What's going on, Tim? What's going on, Tim? Rick Timms the third. He says, Southside of Houston, Sunnyside, Texas up in this camp. No doubt, no doubt. I'm out in Texas too. I'm in Houston. And love it out there. You know what I'm saying? Try to say, let's see. He said Doughboy. He says Crawford. He's like Crawford. Yeah, yeah. Finishing and his finishing. Yeah, he's like Crawford. A lot like Crawford. He said, I want to see Boots versus Charlo. I want to see Charlo get his ass beat. He said, I want Boots and Charlo because Charlo has movement, power, and skills. I mean, we got to see what, there's a bunch of people would probably love to fight him, especially Sebastian Fedora. I think he got hurt, and I think they postponed that fight with him and Thurman, which is good for Thurman because I think Thurman is going to get destroyed. He said, agreed. He said, versus a beast. When he gets hurt, bro, he said he'd be turning into Kane Course. Yes, sir. A Kane Course. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That boy there. I mean, yeah, I love to see him turn up too. You can see it on his face too. That motherfucker be embarrassed and shit. You know what I'm saying? Well, Virgil be turning up on their ass, bro. I be loving it. I said, Virgil, go, bro. Virgil, I mean, yeah, he be coming back with that. Everything, his speed increase. I mean, he like the Incredible Hulk or something, man. You know what I'm saying? Everything increase. All the stats goes up. You know what I'm saying? When he gets hurt. He said Boots will beat years off of a boxer's career. You know what I'm saying? Well, it just depends on how. If you tough like Vergil Ortiz, yeah, because he could take a lot. He could take a lot. He's very durable. For the ones that not, it'll be just kind of cool to go ahead and get knocked out instead of getting brutalized. Instead of getting brutalized over time, right? It's worse to get beat. You know what I'm saying, over rounds than to just go ahead and get knocked out. Um, yeah, he could take a lot of years off of fighters if they durable. I could see him doing that to Madrinoff. Madrinoff is a tough guy that could take punishment. But somebody like Sebastian Fedora, I could see him folding Sebastian. I could see him folding him because that lower body is going to be open all day for the stab jab. You know what I'm saying? He's quick enough to get in. I don't know if he could pull out in time before he gets hit because that boy long, the boy long, and he's coordinated too. Now I don't know about that vision problem. That mother can't see for shit. You know what I'm saying? He said, I don't think Ortiz is a threat to Boot. He said, I see Boot stopping him. Boy, it's starting to build up already. It's starting to build up already. People see it. The footwork, the speed, you know what I'm saying, the hand speed, you know what I'm saying, the punch selection, you know what I'm saying. People are already seeing it, you know, but it's going to be up to Jaron Ennis to make that happen, to make people believers. You know what I'm saying? We see it, but is the world going to see it? You know what I'm saying? So, like he had to go in there and do what he had to do with Usima Lima. You know, people still were doubting this man, and you got a lot of detractors out there like um, Brian Norman Sr. You got the press out there. You know, what I'm saying that Boots, ain't really that dude. Uh, Bradley always trolling. You know what I'm saying? Boots don't believe in himself. What? Well, he's gonna start singing another tune if he goes in there and he stops Vergil Ortiz. Then there's gonna be a lot of fighters that don't want to fight him. If he goes in there, if he goes in there and he stopped Vergil Ortiz in 6 rounds, or even less than that, let's say he stopped him in 3 rounds, it's gonna be hard for him to get those fights with the other champions, as long as they have a choice. You know what I'm saying? If their bodies don't mandate shit, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be hard to get those fights because nobody's gonna want to fight him after he flatlines a tough competitor like Vergil Ortiz. Because Vergil Ortiz is looking to take belts. And he's looking like he could do it with the defeat of Bogachuk and the defeat of Madronov. He looked like he could do that shit, man. It's like so it's gonna if he goes in there and he does that, you best believe, bro, they are not going to want to fight him and give up their straps. He says Stanionis corner knew that. That's why they threw it. Yeah, he was piecing. Oh man, he was having fun piecing up Stanionis. But I think Stanionis he let himself get sidetracked by taking all that step aside money and letting other fighters fight and not really getting in the ring, keeping himself up, keeping himself sharp. I think he needed a tune-up before he fight Jaron Boots Ennis and be more fluid in the ring because he looked like a fighter that's been sitting on the sideline for a while, not taking credit from what Boots did to him. He said Boots tenderized Boots tenderized Canelo instead of hating. He said Bud fans should be thanking him, right? You know, but it is kind of interesting how they be saying that fighters leave a lot of their energy in sparring, right? It is interesting because they still have to go out and fight the fight. Even though they got to take these punches, what I'm saying, to get ready. What I'm saying, that's almost like it's almost like they killing themselves before the fight. And a lot of fighters I'm starting to hear a lot more fighters kind of complain about how many sparring camps they got to go through, and how much sparring camps is taken away from them in their vitality in the ring, right? I heard Dana Garcia mention this a lot. He always mentioned the sparring camps when he see a fighter has a bad performance. What I'm saying, he always mentioned the sparring. How much sparring did they do? So it's a lot of technicalities, I think, behind the scenes that affects these guys' performances in the ring. So they got to be careful how they spar. You can't be going all out like Errol Spence Jr. Camp. You know, treating sparring like it's a fight. That'll get you hurt, and we have seen that with them. Just they fighting too hard in sparring. This is he says according to Jaron and Eddie, said they signed their part of the contract. Man, they always saying some crazy. They always saying that. And then you go to the other side, no, it ain't no contract. So it's hard to even report on this kind of stuff because you don't know what side is lying, what's really going on. It's like, it's really hard to keep up with that. He says they just waiting for Vergil to sign. And you ask Oscar De La Hoya be the first to say, there is no fight, there's no contract. They don't want to fight us, and you just don't know what to believe, bro. So I just wish they were more straight up. There's no, I mean, I guess they're trying to get leverage or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But it's just kind of crazy the way they negotiate. He says, Virgil better fight Boots. He said, if not, then we know who didn't sign the contract. Right, right. He says Madronov didn't fight Virgil the same way he fought Bud. No, because Bud is a counterpunch. You know what I'm saying? He knows he had to wait him out. Like somebody said last night, you got to mirror Crawford, because he's waiting for you to make a mistake, right? And I think Madronov did good the way he switched it up. You know what I'm saying? The way he, because he didn't just rush in there. He was patient. Even Bud gave him credit for that because he didn't know what to think or what to do. You know what I'm saying? He had to figure it out. And it took Crawford a long time to really ramp up the offense. He can only hit Madronov in spots where there was where he kept kind of repeating the same repetitive movement, and Crawford started reading them, you know, and really Madronov was kind of winning. A lot of the early rounds, bro, he was looking good. It's just that he couldn't maintain all that, especially when he started taking them body shots. He says, Boost will make Madronov look easy. You know what I'm saying? Well, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a style, like you said earlier, style make fights. So, um, I've seen crazy things, Ty. I've seen crazy things, but I do believe Boots will get him in the end. He says Canelo is a showman fighter. He said he's expected to win, but not to lose in an embarrassing way. I agree. But he was like that for a long time. So, you can expect a certain pattern when you watch a Canelo fight. They're gonna come out and they're gonna try to get a few good shots in on Canelo. Canelo backs them into a corner, what I'm saying, or against the ropes, and they let Canelo just beat on them. You know what I'm saying? So, either he's gonna win by unanimous decision, or he's gonna beat you down and knock you out like he did Billy Joe Saunders, right? And like he did Plant, you know. So, but those guys were never like, world beaters or nothing like that. So he says Boots and Crawford don't fight like he said Boots and Crawford don't fight like alike. He said although they have enough skills and talent to mimic one another. No, I don't think they fight alike. You know what I'm saying? I just think they got versatility, kind of similar versatility, you know, where they both athletic. You know what I'm saying? They both could switch. You know what I'm saying? They both move pretty good in the ring, right? You know what I'm saying? They got fluid, you know what I'm saying? And they both got good power. He says Boost is much better than Crawford with the same amount of reach. Plus, he's younger. Boost packs Madronov up inside the 4th round. Ooh, man, you really thinking Boots is that dude? You know what I'm saying? But he still got to prove himself, Ty. He still got to prove himself, bro. He said, I also want Boots versus Gary Russell Jr. He said they have history. Oh yeah, I saw them fights. You know what I'm saying? I think Boots got one. I think Gary got one. I forgot who got if they fought a third time. But I saw the one where Gary won in the amateurs. It was good. It was a good little scrap. That was a good scrap, man. It might be on YouTube here somewhere where they got it in. I think we was watching that back a while ago, you know. But Gary he got them Japanese issues going on. He gonna have to fight that Japanese, Hiroto or something like that. You gonna have to fight that guy. I wish he was fighting for the belt. He says Jaron is trying to adjust to a new division. He says the tomato cans have more courage to actually fight. He's Jaron than the so-called top fighters. Yeah, yeah, because it's a payday. You want payday. You want payday. You know what I'm saying? If you want to make the money, man, you got to fight these dudes. You know what I'm saying? I think that Vergil is the perfect test. Yeah, me too. He said it would be a dig deep, gritty type of fight. I think it would make Boots much. Yeah, yeah. I think that would certify him. That would definitely validate him. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to 154, he will become the boogeyman of 154. Because I don't think, for some reason, I just can't see Sebastian Fedora as the boogeyman because he looks like a math teacher. He looks like that. He looked like a calculus assistant professor. You know what I'm saying? That's what he looked like. He said, I think Boots might have a chin problem. They have been trying to hide if that's true. Virgil could be a problem. Says if not, he would beat Virgil pretty easily. That's what I don't know about the chin problem, SJ. I don't know about the chin problem, but from just the way I see Boots is moving right now, um, just the quickness, what I'm saying, the speed and all that. I mean, I want to see him in another fight ASAP, in a competitive fight ASAP, because he's looking good, you know what I'm saying? And I think right now he'll get Virgil. He says, Jaron Boots. He says, Boots knocking off Bachram would definitely put 154 on notice. Yeah, anybody he fight next, because it's so packed with such talent, But if he's going to knock out anybody early, he need to get rid of Bachram, because I think Bachram is a threat. I think he's dangerous, and you want to get him while he's fresh. You want to get him while he's fresh. I think if he went to Virgil, I think Virgil gonna take a little something out of him. Um, Backroom is definitely one of them threats you want to be preemptive on. You know what I'm saying? Before you get worn down, you don't want to save him to be last in the division, in a very competitive type of division, right? You do not want him to be your last fight. You know what I'm saying? You want to get him while you're fresh, and I think that's a mistake that Errol Spence Jr. made. I think he should have fought Crawford first. You know what I'm saying? He said AJ, it could be. He said AJ's boxing IQ said it could have been weight drain, which could have messed with his chin. He probably feels better at a higher weight, and they're still saying that he still needs to go up. Yes, yes, I want to see it too. Pat. Okay, y'all talking to each other. He says I'm starting to call him Triple B bum bashing boots. It's just one fight. Alaska is just one fight. You know what I'm saying? The man is, the man has got a whole division full of assassins. You know what I'm saying? So this shit is about to be like a video game, because he got so many good fights to fight. And this is first fight at 154. So, this is a what you call it? You know what I'm saying? This is like a pep rally for him. You know what I'm saying? So, he has no other excuses now. So I think this would be good for Boots. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely got a lot of expectations over his head, and he's bringing more attention back to Philly. You know what I'm saying? Because Philly got them one. Congratulations, Philly. You got yourself a superstar, and another reason to be proud. You know what I'm saying, for boxing history. The Bernard Hopkins and people coming out of Philly, man. But Boots he's got a good story behind him. Boxing family, what I'm saying, he's gonna be representing, so he's really gonna be representing Philly, man. He's gonna be putting them on the map. And you know, something that was interesting, I thought, was that he likes to fight in Philly a lot. So it'll be kind of cool to see Boots fight outside of Philly and see what he looked like. You know what I'm saying? See if that has any, is there any truth to that? That that like make him fight in Las Vegas or something, Virgil. And I don't think Vergil Ortiz are fighting in Philly either. I don't, maybe they could do that shit in Texas. I think that shit would be off the chain if Boots fights in the AT&T Arena down in Texas. I think that would be huge. I'll probably go to that myself. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably go to that fight. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, definitely. You know, but shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I think it was. I think he scored some points with some people. Some people, he just they don't care. It's like this dude was gonna get Falumaloom anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it don't really move the needle forward or backwards. But it's good for Boots to get the knock off the dust. You know what I mean? And saying to get his shit wet. He says Backroom posted his response to Boots. Said he's ready. Of course he's ready. He says take out the toughest. Yes, take out the toughest guy. He is by far probably the toughest battle he's gonna have. By far. You know what I'm saying? So he need to get him while he fresh. You know, but I do believe he'll get Vergil first though. He said, "Yeah, Boots versus Ben in the UK." Man, Ben better go sit down somewhere. He better fight Eubanks and go head on, because you don't want none of Boots. I think Boots would destroy Eubanks. He would have to get on some of that them PEDs. What's that pregnant? Had to get on them pregnant women PEDs and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because nah, he don't want no Boots, man. He don't have the style. His style is tailor made for Boots. You know what I'm saying? He's aggressive. He comes forward with all them wild ass punches. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. He would get destroyed by Boots, bro. No, he got speed, but and he's explosive, but that's about it. He said my homie put over 1.5 pounds plus Boots. Uh ML, I know he's sick. What's that? Boots ML, I know he's sick. No, y'all got to remember I'm old now. God damn, y'all. He says, and my homie put over 1.5. Was this betting or whatever? He said, yeah. But yeah, man, that's seeing Boots on the rise. That's I think we got ourselves, somebody to watch. Somebody's gonna take us, what I'm saying, to some exciting fights and get us back into this thing. You know what I'm saying? I think Boots is that dude. So, that's pretty much. I just wanted to see what you guys thought about it. I thought it was a good fight, and Boots, he's coming along like he's supposed to. So, you know, um, my thing is, I'm looking at David Benavidez, and um, David, he's probably going to get undisputed at 175. Um, but it just looked like Bivol, he don't want to really fight David Benavidez. I don't know about Arthur Beterbiev as much, but they just had a fight cancellation with Arthur Beterbiev. They just had a fight cancellation, and I was kind of hoping that if David kind of like goes through Yard, that he can probably get that fight. You know, I don't know how soon. Maybe not the early, maybe around about May, get that fight with Arthur Beterbiev. You know what I'm saying? And I think that would be cool because I think uh, Dimitri Bivol is still recuperating from his back surgery. So if he took a loss, let's say Arthur Beterbiev and Bivol went through with the fight, it would be, he can kind of blame it on the back surgery, recovering from the back surgery. So I think Bivol needs time to recuperate. Give the fight to David. Let David get a shot against Arthur Beterbiev, right? And let David grab, what I'm saying, let David grab some glory, and get up there into the mix and everything. Because I'm tired of seeing them two just fight each other. Let some other guys, up in there and fight, and let David get in there, because he's been, on the outside for too long, and some of it was his fault, but once he got past all that, the cocaine and the weight, and he started really, concentrating on his career, I think that it was time to let all that stuff go. And a lot of these guys who don't want their favorite fighter to fight them, what I'm saying, they use that against David, what I'm saying, so he don't deserve a fight with the Bivels and the Arthur Beterbies. They kind of try to make it look like he's trash because I think David is going to torture Anthony Yard. I think he's gonna destroy Yard, right? So where does he go from there? You know what I'm saying? It's like he's got to fight Better Beef and all those guys. He's got to fight them. So I think the Turk offered him a deal, like if he become undisputed and he get Ja Obatiah. Say he won't, and Ja Obatiah is supposed to get undisputed so they can meet. And I think that's going to be a super fight that the Turk is working on. So, what I'm saying, David got shit to do. You know what I'm saying? So he can't be held up. You know what I'm saying? The Mexican monster is no joke. He says Eddie gets Ben and Eubanks versus Boots in UK for that. He says Boots to shine. Man, I do not want to see that damn fight. I think he's so far above them guys. Um, I don't want to see it. I just don't think they have enough skills. I don't think the skill set, I don't think it'll be a good matchup for him. Eubank's too old. Um, Ben, he don't have enough skill. So yeah, yeah, David needs Arthur and Bill, yeah, to shut up the haters for that for sure. And but see, that's the thing. As long as they keep David with so competitors, they can keep saying that. See, when he fought David Morrell Jr., everybody was thinking David Morrell Jr. was so athletic, he was so strong, he was so powerful. And I kept telling you on full counter boxing that he don't have enough experience. He don't have enough big fight experience. David, he's Cuban school. He's Cuban school. You see how he move in the ring? I said, bro, he only got 6 fights. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna beat the Mexican monsters. So when full counter boxing tell you something, listen. I'm like E.F. Hutton. When folks like, what the hell is E.F. Hutton? People don't, I'm sure I'm an age now when I talk about E.F. Hutton. You don't know nothing about that. When E.F. Hutton talks, everybody listen. Damn, nothing, nothing. God damn it, I'm too old. Get them references. God damn. Mm-mm. But yeah, David. I'm looking at David, and I'm just hoping that that everything goes. That they don't get any more cancellations because we've been getting a lot of cancel fights lately, and I don't know what's up with that. I think Fedora hurt his hand. Um, they didn't even mention what the problem was with the Arthur Beterbiev fight. They did. I think it was stuff. I don't know. The Dion Nicholas guy he's supposed to be fighting Arthur Beterbiev, and they didn't even mention what was up with that. So we're getting some cancellations going on. I don't know who's going to replace Dion Nicholas. I don't know, um, but or I don't even know if it was Beterbiev. You know what I'm saying? I don't know which side it's on. So what they're gonna do? But hopefully we get these fights quickly before these cancellations stop piling up. But I just wanted to run it by you guys, you know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying? And that's pretty much all I got, what I'm saying, for today. And I'll probably come back tomorrow. We'll kick it some more, see what's boxing stories out there. And what I'm saying? I'm just go get me something to eat, drink me a couple of beers or something, you know what I'm saying, and go chill, you know what I'm saying? But congratulations to Jaron Boots Ennis. You know what I'm saying? I thought that shit was spectacular. And see you guys in the next live stream, man. You know what I'm saying? Nigga gotta go get something to eat. You know what I'm saying? But I see you guys in the next one, man. Yes, sir. What you say, says see what you're saying, boots on. Yeah, I just think that, you know. But I see you guys in the next one, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna go chill out. You know what I'm saying? I'm still working. Um, where I'm off, but I'm still, on the job or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I see you guys in the next one, man. All right. All right, SJ Boxing. Yes, sir. You know. Peace out, y'all.